Hello everyone, welcome back to the 5 Minute Tech channel. Today we will be talking about agent framework comparison, and the different agent frameworks which we'll be talking about is LangGraph, Google ADK, OpenAI and Microsoft Agent Framework. We'll be checking what OpenAI, Google, Microsoft and LangGraph each get it right and how to pick one among them for your agent orchestration. So what all we will be learning will be our agents one-on-one, what AI agent actually is, and the loop behind the whole buzzword around what agents can do. The four frameworks, the lineage plus deep dive on OpenAPI, Google, Microsoft, and the LangGraph. We'll be talking about head-to-head how they compare and a comparison table and a no hype decision guide on how you can make a very suitable decisions for the implementation of your agentic framework and how you can build how that the build differs for each of these frameworks, meaning the same agent in four ways, what actually the difference is. So what an AI agent is really, it's the agentic loop, which is most important, the perceive and the react, the reason and the act, plus the observe and repeat. So this is the full cycle. Every framework in this video is a different answer, has a different answer to the same question, which is how do you manage the loop in the production. So you have first of all the instruction system prompts and the goals. You have tools, that is the APIs, the code which you write, and the MCPs, both the client and the servers, and then the loop control and when to stop, and the handoffs, that is passing on to agents or sub agents, and the way to maintain your memory, that is the state and the sessions. That is all combined inside the LLM reasoning core. Why not just call the API in a while loop and do the same thing than the agents? Yes, you can do that for a demo, but for production agents needs four things while your while loop doesn't, which your while loop doesn't have, and that is your orchestration, the state and the memory, the tools and the MCP, and the observability. The orchestration involves a routing between different agents, whether it is a main agent or the sub agents, the handoffs, the parallel fan out between different agents, and the retries without the spaghetti code. You don't write a lot of logical code and you pass it out to the agents to reason it out. And then you have the state and the memory, the sessions that survive the restarts with the memory, resumes the mid task if you have any issues, and remembers users across the turns, and it remembers what it has done around the corner and stuff. And then there are the tools in the MCP which enriches it, that is the typed function calling, pre-built connectors, and the model context protocol standard enrichment. And then we have the observability, tracing every steps, evals, guardrails which are required so that you can debug and why the agent didn't do a particular work correctly, where did it go wrong, and how to prevent that in the future. Now, frameworks are the difference between works on my machine and runs for 10,000 users, similar to what we have in our deployment scenario. We use Docker, and we do not say that it doesn't work in my, it does work in my machine, but it doesn't there. So this is how the framework would support the agentic system. So these are the basics around that. Now, how we got there? The 2026 landscape is pretty much very agentic oriented. The OpenAI Agent SDK, there was a Swarm 2024 experiment, followed by your Agents SDK, which was released on March 2025. And in 2026, there is a sandboxing plus long-running harness. The harness engineering or the harness concept is a well-known concept nowadays, wherein you provide the full set of structure for the agents to run. And then we have the LangGraph, which is LangChain was there in 2022, followed by a LangGraph, and then there was a 1.0 GA released in October 2025, which was the stable API and the durable state. The Microsoft Agent Framework initially started with your semantic kernel and AutoGen merged, and that was merged to create the Agent Framework 1.0 GA. It is in general access for the April 2026, which is long-term service and long-term release. And the last one but not the least is your Google ADK, which is your 1.0 input output was released in 2025, followed by your ADK 2.0, which is July 2026 with the graph engine and 5 languages. OpenAI is minimal and code first, whereas your LangGraph is most battle tested, is open community, and there are a lot of work going at the back of it. And then there is the enterprise successor, which is your Microsoft Agent Framework, followed by your fastest riser, which is our Google ADK. So covering the standards, all the four speaks MCP for tools, and your A2A started by Google. Now it is under Linux Foundation, connects across the agents across these frameworks. Now let's get deep dive into the OpenAI Agent SDK, which is minimal primitives, production loop included, and the successor to its Swarm release. The latest and the greatest is it was 2026 updates around the sandboxed execution, long-running task harness for frontier models. The languages which are used is Python, TypeScript, or JavaScript. Orchestration is code first primitives, agent handoff, guardrails, and sessions. And it is superpower in smallest API surface, built it tracing native to the responses API. The one area which you should watch out for is the happiest inside the OpenAI stack and other models via light LLMs adapters. And that is something which you should be careful about. And the best when the scenario to use the OpenAI is you use OpenAI models in your system or enterprise and want the latest abstractions possible, then you can go for OpenAI Agent SDKs. Now this is the right hand side is the 12 lines of code which we generally use for the agent which you develop with the OpenAI. You get the agents from the agent runner and function tool, and you write the function tool function method, and you do all the stuff and you create the agent. So there is a simple example in which I was talking about creating a travel mate, and you pass the instruction and tools which you want to use, and the result will be the agent run. So this is a simple example of the OpenAI Agent SDK. Let's move on to the next framework, which is Google ADK. It is batteries included and polyglot in nature. Google's Code First Agent Toolkit. The latest was ADK 2.0 in July 2026. A graph workflow engine was included in it, along with the task API for agent delegation. The languages used are Python, TypeScript, Go, Java, and Kotlin. Broadest of the four frameworks. The orchestration includes a slider from model-led loops to strict deterministic graph workflows. It is a superpower in terms of ADK Web Dev UI, built-in evals, and one command deployed to Vertex AI Agent Engine and A2A native. Watch out for this Google ADK would be something, it is youngest community and has the docs which is still coming up. It defaults assumes Gemini plus Google Cloud as its environment, so just watch out for those details. Again, this is where it is best known where you are in Google Cloud or Gemini, your enterprise is working with it, and your team writes Go and Java or Kotlin applications. The same way, the agent orchestration for this would be you will use pip to install from Google ADK agents, and you have the same weather get weather function wherein you will get the root agent configured in terms of model, instructions, and the tools. The next is Microsoft Agent Framework. It is two lineage, one framework because it comes from semantic kernel and autogen, and it is unified for the enterprises to use it as a combination of the two. The latest was released in April 2026 and with a long-term support on with .NET and Python. The languages which is used is the Python and C#.NET. and only the first class .NET story. And the orchestration would be autogen style multi-agent patterns plus typed checkpointed graph workflows. Enterprise plumbing includes your telemetry, and that is the superpower feature of MS Agent. It has the middleware in Azure AI Foundry along with MCP, A2A, and AGUI. And the most important thing to watch out for in the MS agent framework would be the most concepts to learn in this migration steps. If you are on the semantic kernel or autogen today and you want to migrate to MS agent framework. Now this is best fit when you have a .NET or Azure shop or enterprise works with that, and that needs compliance, telemetry, and support. And for the implementation, you would again still go to your agent framework installation through pip command. You create the function or method, and then you pass the instruction with the tooling. So the right hand side shows the simple steps on how you will create an agent there. The next is the LangGraph. It is explicit graphs and durable state, the most battle tested option because it's a very open community driven structure. It has that. And the latest is the 1.0 GA in October 2025. It has stable APIs, Langsmith observability, and the LangGraph Studio is there. Languages are around Python, TypeScript, or JavaScript. The orchestration, you draw the graph, nodes, edges, conditional routing, subgraphs, etc. And it is superpower in durable checkpoints, resumes mid-run after a crash, and the human in loop feature along for it can be configured with any model. And the watch out for in the LangGraph would be the steepest learning curve. You own the graph design and its complexity, and you work with it. It is best. It is best when you have workflows. When you have workflows which are complex in your enterprise, and it is stateful and long running. And on any model provider, it has to run with irrespective of whether it is your Gemini or your OpenAI or any other model. The way you can write this, create the agents in this is again the pip install LangGraph, and then you create the React agent or iAgent, which where you pass the prompts and the tools. So that is present on the right hand side. Now let's do a head-to-head. The status of each of the AI framework is 2026 harness and sandboxing for OpenAI agents. Google ADK 2.0 release in July 2026. MS Agent is 1.0 in April 2026, and LangGraph was 1.0 in 2025 October. As I've talked about, most of the languages are Python based except .NET and in Microsoft Agent Framework, and others have TypeScript and Java, with Google having the most Go and Java and Kotlin also as well. The mental model is minimal primitive for OpenAI agents. It's agents plus graph slider for Google ADK, agents plus typed workflow for MS agents, and explicit state graph for your LangGraph. Multi-agent system for AI agents, OpenAI agents is handoff, whereas Google ADK has task API, sub-agents A2A, whereas MS agent has your autogen style patterning, and your LangGraph has your subgraphs and supervisors. The state part for OpenAI agent is session based, whereas for Google it is session plus memory services. MS agent has threads and checkpoints, and LangGraph has your durable checkpoints, which is best in class in this set of comparison. The models, again, OpenAI relies on OpenAI first and a light LLM for rest. Gemini is for Google ADK, model agnostic. MS Agent has your Azure, OpenAI, Cloud, Bedrock, Olama, and LangGraph has any provider, whichever you want to configure. The dev tooling for OpenAI is built-in tracing UI. Google ADK comes with ADK Web UI, Eval, and CLI. MS Agent Framework has Dev UI and OpenTelemetry, and LangGraph has Langsmith Studio and Studio. Deploy path is your infrastructure for OpenAI, whereas Google ADK is mostly Vertex AI agent engine along with the Cloud Run. AMS Agent Framework has your Azure AI Foundry, and LangGraph has LangGraph platform, or you can do a self-hosting as well. Learning curve is lowest in OpenAI because it's very much based on the tooling. Google ADK, it is little moderate. MS Agent is moderate and high, and whereas LangGraph, it is the highest. You need the most control in LangGraph. Now, same agent, four different ways. What actually differs? We talked about the different ways we can write the same agent. So for install OpenAI SDK, pip install OpenAI agents. Google ADK has your pip install Google ADK. MS Agent has pip install Agent Framework, and LangGraph has pip install LangGraph. We define agents and we call the function tool in OpenAI agent, whereas in Google ADK we define the agent and call the plain function. In MS Agent we create the agent with tools as functions. And LangGraph we have create React agent as we saw in the code block. Now runner is for running the OpenAI agents, you do a runner.run run sync, whereas in Google ADK you use ADK web and ADK run. In MS agent we use await agent run, and in LangGraph we have agent.invoke with the message. The feel is a more tidy Python library in OpenAI agents, whereas it's a full dev toolchain in Google ADK along with an enterprise SDK for MS Agent Framework, whereas in for LangGraph we have it is like a workflow engine. The identical behavior but wildly different ergonomics for this we saw. The concept, the tools, the instructions and loops transfer 1:1 across all the four frameworks. Now, which one should you pick among all these four? Like, for example, if you're starting out and you're using OpenAI, ChatGPT on models and all, you can go for OpenAI Agent SDK. You are on Google Cloud, your enterprise supports Gemini, and you write your code in Java, Go, Kotlin, you can go with Google ADK. You are a .NET and Azure enterprise, or your company has a lot of .NET applications with compliance needs, then you can go for MS Agent Framework. And if your workflows are complex, stateful, and model agnostics, and then you can go with LangGraph with the maximum learning curve. Now there is no best or only one pick for this one. Your cloud or model choice decides what you will pick. And with MCP plus A2A protocols, switching later is getting cheaper. It's not expensive, and you can do certain migrations as well as you go forward. Now, 5 important things to remember before we break out is agents is equal to LLMs plus tools plus loop. Frameworks adds your orchestration, states, tool standards, and observability. Now, know the 4 personalities in our system, in our ecosystem. These are one of the major players, which is your OpenAI, the ADK, Microsoft, and the LangGraph. You pick by stack gravity, not hype. Your cloud and model decides your choice. MCP plus A2A makes the skills portable, so you can use this as an orchestration and then port it when you need it and build the same agent in each. It's one afternoon with one of your coding agents, and the fastest way to learn is to just code out the agents by yourself. So I hope you like this video. That was all for this video around the agent frameworks. If you like, press like and subscribe to the channel. Have a nice day.